going to go ahead and call our meeting to order. I have asked Commissioner Smith to lead us in our invocation and Chief Fonstock to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance. All stand.
Let's pray together. Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you for the opportunity to be here once again, Lord, to conduct the town's business, Lord. Father, I do pray that tonight you'll give us wisdom as we work through the issues that face this board tonight, Lord. Father, I do pray that when everything's said and done, everything will be pleasing in your sight, Lord. Father, we also pray for those in our community who are suffering because of this pandemic, Lord. We pray for their healing, and we pray for an end to come to this soon, Lord. We do thank you, Lord, that we're beginning to see people in our board meetings and see people out at different events. But Lord, we do have to be cautious, and we pray that you'll take care of that issue. Father, I do thank you for the opportunity to live and work and play in Fuquay-Varina, and thank you for our community. Lord, we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Please join me in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'll ask our town manager to review the meeting protocol for public participation as it relates to this meeting.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, and good evening, board members. Tonight's meeting is both in person and virtual. A limited number of citizens from the public have been permitted to attend the meeting in person. 50% of seating availability is permitted by the town at this time for public meetings. Tonight's meeting contains a public comment period and one scheduled public hearing. Due to the hybrid nature of the meeting, the public will be invited to comment both in person and virtually via the Zoom virtual meeting platform. When it is the appropriate time, Mayor Byrne will first call on those wishing to address the town board that are attending in person, followed by those wishing to address the town board via the Zoom platform. All attendees that have appeared in person to address the town board during the public comment period should provide your name and address on the registration sheet by the podium prior to the public comment period. All attendees that have joined the meeting virtually have joined muted. If those joining virtually wish to address the town board during the public comment period or public hearing, they will need to notify the town host that they wish to speak. For the public's benefit that may be joining the meeting via the Zoom platform this evening, please press the raise hand button in the Zoom application to notify the town host that you wish to address the town board. Please press *9 to raise your hand if you are joining by telephone. After an individual has raised their hand, they will enter into a queue. When the time for public comment begins, Mayor Byrne will ask the town host to recognize individuals that have notified the town host that they wish to speak by calling out their name or the last 4 digits of their telephone number. Individuals will be unmuted one at a time and invited to address the town board. We ask all those wishing to address the town board to begin their comments by clearly stating their name and address for the public record. The public is asked to keep all comments to 3 minutes so that all that wish to speak can be heard in a timely manner. And this concludes the protocol for tonight's meeting.
Thank you, Adam. Move to item 3A, approval of the minutes of the August 17th, 2021 regular scheduled town board meeting.
Mayor, make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 4A, introduction to our new Economic Development Director, Tiffany McNeil. Our town manager will give us some additional information, and Tiffany is with us tonight. I had the opportunity to spend some time with Tiffany the other day, and graduate of Lincoln Heights Elementary School and also of Harnett Central, but has a great rapport here in Fuquay-Varina. Family does for many years. Adam?
Thank you, Mayor. And Tiffany, you might want to just step to the podium for a moment. I am proud and excited this evening to introduce to the town board and to the public who's here in attendance and maybe watching virtually, Tiffany McNeil. She is our new Economic Development Director. Tiffany started about a week ago with the town, or maybe almost 2 weeks ago now. And she's hit the ground running. We're very excited. She comes to us from previously having worked at Duke Energy as the Senior Workforce Development Consultant with Duke Energy. And prior to that, she held various economic development leadership roles with a number of organizations that you are familiar with, the City of Raleigh Economic Development Department, the North Carolina Department of Commerce, and the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina. The mayor mentioned her elementary school resume and her high school, but she's also a graduate of East Carolina University, and has her master's in public administration from North Carolina Central University. She is a certified economic developer through the International Economic Development Council, and with her experience, understanding of economic development principles, her personality, and her awareness of how relationships are important to the economic development goals and objectives of the town, I believe Tiffany is going to add great value to this organization for years to come. So Tiffany, on behalf of management and the staff here and on behalf of the town board as well, we want to welcome you officially to the town of Fuquay-Varina.
Thank you, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
So thank you, board. I'm excited to be here. This is my second week, so I've hit the ground running. Just excited to help drive economic development in the town of Fuquay, working with the board and our wonderful citizens. So thank you for all the warm welcomes.
Thank you very much, Tiffany. We appreciate you being here with us tonight, and look forward to being able to see your smiling face.
All right. Awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we move to 4B, recognition and appreciation of the Fuquay-Varina Exchange Club, the Town Hall Freedom Shrine. Barbara, I can't think of how long ago it's been since you and I first talked about this, but you've done a wonderful job, and it is really beautiful here at our town hall. And I can remember the first Freedom Shrine that was given to the Fuquay-Varina High School by the Exchange Club, and that's 50 years ago. I was going to say 40, but I probably was wrong. 50 years ago sounds right. But it's a great tool for learning and growing, and what a great place to have it located is here at our town hall. And I want to thank you and the Exchange Club for that. And I want Adam to make a few comments too as well.
Thank you, Mayor. And while I am, Barbara Marchione, I believe Laura Lund, is she here with us as well? Good. Laura, Jean Hackney, and Don Briscar. If y'all step forward while I make a few remarks about the Freedom Shrine, maybe to the podium, so that we can appropriately recognize you for this great contribution to our town. So here on the first floor of Town Hall, just on the main hallway down here past the lobbyway, stands the Freedom Shrine. This is an impressive display of a collection of historic document replicas that serve to remind all of us of the great efforts that have been taken to ensure our freedom. The Freedom Shrine originated with the Freedom Train that toured the nation in 1947, carrying an exhibit of historic documents. It serves as an educational tool, as Mayor Byrne mentioned, in schools and as a motivational display in public areas. Some example documents include the Declaration of Independence, the U.S. Constitution, the Emancipation Proclamation, the Gettysburg Address, the Martin Luther King Jr. I Have a Dream speech, and JFK's Ask Not speech, among many other historical documents. Again, we want to thank the Fuquay-Varina Exchange Club for this fantastic donation. We hope that our community will get to enjoy this for many, many, many years to come here at our town hall. And Mayor, you may want to ask if they have a few comments they'd like to make as well.
Let's see here. We've got a microphone. If I can turn it on.
It was on.
You got it?
Yes, sir.
One, tell everybody how much it cost.
It was about $2,500, I think.
This is a $2,500 donation to the town of Fuquay-Varina by one of our, and I'm going to say oldest civic clubs, in Fuquay-Varina now. I was a member of the Exchange Club many, many moons ago.
We'll sign you up again.
There you go. That's what the Lions Club tells me every night. But yeah, big deal. This is not a little deal. This is a big deal. But I'd like for y'all to make some comments too. I'm gonna come around on this side. You're okay, and you can face out here and everybody.
Thank you for allowing us to install it here. It is the only one presently in Fuquay-Varina. The first one was installed when the high school was on Ennis Street, and with years of remodeling, it's no longer there, unfortunately. So you have the only one in Fuquay-Varina.
Very proud of that.
I hope you are. Thank you for allowing us. And our initial conversation was about 3 years ago, I think, before all this started. Yeah. So, thank you.
It's a process, but it's a beautiful one, and I just encourage everybody, if they have an opportunity, when they exit the building, because of COVID, we all want to adjourn and go out there. But when you exit the building, take an opportunity to look at it. And we will use it here as part of teaching as school children come through this facility.
Amen.
Yes, sir, and I have to say that our staff has already begun to enjoy it as well. They've spent some time just down there reviewing the documents and really enjoying it. So we
Yeah, they kept an
appreciate
eye
that.
on us the day we were installing it.
That's right.
Okay, any of y'all would like to say an additional thought?
Well, I was just going to remind everyone that the Exchange Club represents 4 different areas. When we meet, we have projects in Americanism, youth, community service, and our national project is the prevention of child abuse.
Great, and that's really good to know how the Exchange Club touches every community. And thank y'all again very, very much. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, just it'd be fine.
What a proud exhibit that we have here in our facility, as well as many artwork and pictures that show our community. But when Adam and I talked about it, it's not a nicer type of gift that you could receive. Okay. At this time, the town clerk will call on individuals that are in attendance and have registered to address the town board prior to the meeting. Following those who are in attendance, the IT director will call on individuals that have virtually raised their hand by way of the Zoom app or telephone. The public comment period is a time for the public to address the town board about any matter that is not subject to a scheduled public hearing. Those speaking are asked to begin by clearly stating your name and address for the public record. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes in order that all who wish to speak may be heard in a timely manner. Rose?
Yes, this evening we have Cindy Sheldon.
Cindy's a former town commissioner, mayor pro tem, I believe,
Yeah,
and did a fabulous job, but has since moved out of our community. And
I know, yeah.
I'm
You're going
just-
to put me on blast for the moving, aren't you? So I'm Cindy Sheldon. For the record, I live at 2128 Vecchio Lane in Apex, North Carolina, 27502. I did move out of town. Mayor's never forgiven me, but I hope he will soon. I wanted to come here tonight to speak in favor of what I hope will be the renaming of Town Hall to the John W. Byrne Municipal Building. I began serving in the town in 1999 with 6 years on the planning board, and then ending in 2013 after 8 years on the town board. I served with John during most of that time, and I just can't think of a better person to name this town hall after. I think about a quote, and I think about when I see this quote, and I have it hanging in my office, so I see it a lot. And I think about John every time I see it, because I will tell you there was a great maturation process I went through when I was a town commissioner. I was young when I'm young now, so I was young when I started, and I had some growing up to do, and John was a pivotal part of that. This quote is a Fred Rogers quote, and it is, "The purpose of life is to listen to yourself, to your neighbor, to your world, and to God. And when time comes, to respond in as a helpful way as you can find from within and from without." And I think about that quote all the time, because I know during some very frustrated and heated conversations, John would tell me, "You just got to be a good listener." And it took me a minute to understand what that meant. And I thank you for that. Sincerely, Mayor. John listens to hear and has always worked hard to find the best solution that moves the town of Fuquay-Varina forward. You have to think about it. 20 years, 10 elections. That's unbelievable. I'm going to tell you, I endured 3 elections, and that was a gracious plenty. So to do it 10 times is so impressive. And what's even more impressive is he always won with over 62% of the vote. That's a resounding support of citizens in this town, supporting John and his service for 10 election cycles. When you think about Fuquay-Varina, whether you think about John and the hats that he wears, if you think about him on the walks that he takes, if you think about the fact that he got on an airplane in a seersucker suit and got this town a AAA bond rating in New York, you know how much money that saved this town? Millions. Whether you think about the fact that when he was first elected, the town was just under 4,000 people and is now vibrant and thriving over 30,000. When you think about the fact that he supports, admires, respects the sacrifice and service of the town staff every single day, and when it's tough sometimes, he stands up for them and has their back. When you think about the fact that he is unequivocally the most well-known person in the town of Fuquay-Varina, and you can't make the connection that this building that represents the citizens should be named after him, that's, it's easy connection, guys. Come on, let's get there. I would like to also press on you, let's do it now. I've had the opportunity to attend multiple dedications in this town. The Jeff Wells Memorial Trail, I think is what it's called. Mr. Campbell's Park, Mr. Freeman's Park. Jimmy Johnson has a room at the community center. What's in common with all those folks when they got this stuff? They had passed away. And while that was sad and heartbreaking, why do we have to wait for someone to pass away to recognize the time, energy, and effort of 20 years? We need to do it now, while he and his family and all of us that served with him can be there and honor his commitment and time and effort and energy to this town. I urge you all to vote in favor of it. I believe it is on your agenda later this evening. Now's the time. Today's the day to take the vote, and I urge you all to vote yes. And Mr. Mayor, I'll be forever grateful for everything you've done for me and my family, and for the town of Fuquay-Varina.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you, Cindy. I appreciate that.
Of course. Let me mask back up here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rose, who do you have next?
Next, we have Charlie Adcock.
Another town commissioner.
I've been in the shadow of Cindy for a long time, so I'm kind of used to this position. My name is Charlie Adcock, and I live at 114 East Spring Street, downtown Fuquay-Varina. The other thing I'll mention here tonight, I also am a proud graduate of Lincoln Heights Elementary School. I love this town. Tonight I'm here to speak about our mayor, John Byrne. I remember 21 years ago, I had just moved back to Fuquay-Varina when I heard that John was going to run for mayor. At that time, I had no idea I'd end up running for town commissioner a few years later, and as I know all of you know, I ended up working with John on the town board for 11 years. I have enjoyed watching and learning from John as he led this town over the past 20 years. John was always an advocate for recognizing local folks that had made a difference in our town. Several tributes, some that Cindy mentioned. The James Campbell Park on Jones Street, the Dr. William Freeman Park on Lawrence Street, the Jimmy Johnson Room at the Community Center, the Jeff Wells Trail at South Park. Finally, our historic Ashworth Park downtown. These tributes are not only an honor for the individual, but it's a way for our town to honor our past and to keep our history alive. I think that John Byrne is one of, if not the biggest advocate for Fuquay-Varina, but specifically for downtown. It's hard to believe now, but 20 years ago, the idea of the town investing in our downtown was somewhat controversial. Regardless, under Mayor Byrne's watch, the town invested in new sidewalks in our entire downtown from Fuquay to Varina. The power lines were buried downtown. The spring, our town's birthplace, was purchased to be used as a park for all of our citizens to appreciate and to enjoy. After years of discussion in the community, a first-class art center was built in downtown. We even have a downtown dog park. But I think the most significant, after about 30 years of having our town hall outside of downtown, this beautiful building was purchased, and it was made into what I think is the centerpiece of all of these prior efforts that Mayor Byrne championed to enliven and revitalize our downtown. Now, the list of accomplishments that I've just given you, frankly, it's a short list, because if I named all of the good things that Mayor Byrne has done to improve our town, I'd be here for several more hours. I don't think listing everything is necessary. I hope that the town board will consider all the progress that this town has made over the past 20 years and honor our mayor in a fitting way. And I think naming Town Hall, the Town Hall of Fuquay-Varina, after our longest serving mayor, is a perfectly fitting and well-deserved honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate your comments. Appreciate you being here. Okay, Rosa, you got next.
That's it for public comments.
Pardon me?
That's it for public comments.
Okay. Now we move on to
Virtual.
Scott.
Yes, sir. We have one hand raised. Yavita Simons, please unmute your mic.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jovita Simons, and I live at 223 Northwest Street, Fuquay-Varina. You all are quite familiar with me and why I'm here, so I'll try to make these comments brief. I'm still asking for the same thing, which is a cultural assessment for the municipal government of Fuquay-Varina to be done by an independent party. I'm asking that the results of that be shared publicly, and I am hoping that you all will at some point speak publicly, because you all met with us privately. You all stated your agreement with it and your support of it. We have quotes. We've had lively discussions. And I don't understand, I quite frankly don't understand why you refuse to publicly support it in this particular forum, in the interest of transparency. We're not making this up. However, when it was brought before you, everyone was mute. So this is very disheartening. And we have said repeatedly that while we are not objecting to the hiring of a DEI staff person, these are two very separate things that we're asking. The DEI is one thing, but the cultural assessment is another. So what I'd like to do tonight, because you've heard what our ask is, it has not changed from day one. I wanted to read some of the comments that the public has made regarding the cultural assessment. And I quote, "Performing a cultural assessment means there is a systemic interest in always improving our practices and relationships. Not agreeing to a cultural assessment looks like a cover-up of unknown issues." Another quote by someone, "It is well over time for a cultural assessment. The future of Fuquay-Varina depends on it." Another quote, "I want to raise my family in a town that values all of its community." Another quote, "Change and transparency are necessary for growth. North Carolinians deserve it." Another quote, "Because it's necessary." Another quote, excuse me, "Fuquay-Varina is rapidly changing, and we need to know who and what we are before becoming something we do not understand or collectively support. The influx of new residents requires us to fully understand if we are open to diverse new populations and charting a new path to equity and inclusion for all residents, or if we are simply going to let progress dictate a set of values that all of us were not involved in creating." Another quote, "I live in Fuquay-Varina and I want my whole community to feel heard." Another quote, "Change and transparency are necessary for growth. North Carolinians deserve it." I think I read that. And there's many other quotes. And I have to say that I've received phone calls, emails, and one-on-one comments from people in support of having this cultural assessment done. I have 3 questions for you. One is, what are you afraid of? 2, why not say in public what you said to us in the meetings, in private? And specifically to Adam Mitchell, our town manager, and the commissioners, the communication seems to have stopped, and we've not been given a legitimate reason why it has not been proposed or what is going on. And I think we need to come back to the table. This is not going away. We're not going away. So in closing, I would just like to say For those public members that are listening, if you'd like to know more about the cultural assessment of the municipal government, go to change.org. You can sign our petition. You can also read more in-depth explanation of what a cultural assessment is. You can call and write our elected officials and our town manager and advocate for this as well. And you can also go to the Community Alliance Facebook page and like and follow us, and we will be happy to respond to any questions or concerns anyone may have. Again, I just want to reiterate that we would like to get the cultural assessment done as soon as possible by an independent entity. And I would hope that you all would publicly say what you said to us behind closed doors in support of the cultural assessment. Thank
Okay.
you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. We went over a little bit, but I think you got all your points in there, and we appreciate you being with us tonight. Scott, do you have anybody else?
Yes, sir. We have one more hand raised. Alexander Lamont, please unmute your mic.
Alexander?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Hi, my name's Alexander Lamont. I'm at 444 Leland Cypress Lane, down in Southern Oaks at what used to be the end of Judd Parkway. I have a concern about the traffic light at the community center when you're coming from what would be the post office area to get to our neighborhood. There are many times during rush hour that I sit and watch that light change at least 3 times, waiting for the traffic, to make a left-hand turn to leave Wake County. And I'm idling, I'm wasting gas, and it seems to me that it would make more sense to have a left-hand turn lane there instead of a right-hand turn lane to go towards downtown that nobody really uses.
Have you talked to anybody? Have you talked to anybody on our town staff?
No, sir.
Okay, I'm going to let Adam Mitchell kind of respond to this because it is an area that we're familiar with and we're working on. Adam?
Thank you, Mayor. And to the gentleman calling in, we understand your point and we agree with you. In fact, we have received, or I say we have received, we have been awarded a grant through Campbell, and it's a LAP grant, and to help us pay for the reconfiguration and resignalization of that intersection that will hopefully improve the concerns that you have. With COVID, those funds, they're federal funds, they have been slow to be released to the local entities to proceed forward with the projects. But the project, we stand ready to move forward with the project. As soon as the federal government and the grant program releases the funds, we're ready to pull the trigger and move forward with making those improvements. And so just hang tight with us a little while longer. We're working to try to get the federal government to release those funds, and as soon as we get the green light, you should see some improvements at that intersection.
Your mayor serves on the Campo board and is following it very, very closely. And we appreciate
you. I appreciate it too, and I look forward to hearing what you guys are going to do about the cultural assessment as well. So thank you very much for addressing my concern. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you being here. Scott, you have anybody else?
No, sir.
Okay. The hearing is now closed. We will move on to, 7A. Zoning map amendment. The Curry Engineering Group, PLLC, 1601 North Main Street, REZ 2021-05. More information about this agenda item be presented by Town Manager Mitchell.
Thank you, Mayor. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider a requested zoning map amendment for a total of 1.44 acres located at 1601 North Main Street from the Residential Agricultural RA zoning district to the Corridor Commercial Conditional Zoning District, CCCZD. The property is currently in the town's corporate limits. It is vacant and generally cleared with some trees and brush, and it's about 1.44 acres, as I previously mentioned. The zoning map amendment petition requests approval of the corridor commercial conditional zoning district. The zoning district is intended to accommodate medium-scale intensity non-residential development of a mix of convenient services, retail, office, and limited institutional uses. The petitioner is requesting only the following use be permitted at the subject property, and that use is automotive express service. The petitioner is requesting the following conditions be applicable to the site-specific standards, those being provide a 30-foot Type A perimeter buffer adjacent to 1403 Wilbur Jones Road, comprised of entirely evergreen planted material. And just for your reference, that buffer, give me 1 second here. That buffer would be against this property. That property is 1403 Wilbur Jones Road. And obviously this is the subject property right here. Secondly, the other site-specific condition is that roll-up service doors for the garage will be prohibited on the western facade of the proposed building. So no roll-up doors facing 1403 Wilbur Jones Road. In terms of surrounding use, surrounding properties are generally a mix of commercial and residential uses with some forested area. The Brennan Way subdivision lies to the north across the Norfolk Southern Railroad, and a single-family home is immediately adjacent to the northwestern property line. To the east, southwest, and west of the property are commercial uses ranging from automotive-related businesses, restaurants, and personal care uses. Directly east of the property is the recently completed UNC Healthcare flagship medical building. The 2035 Community Vision Land Use Plan calls for a small-scale commercial center classification at the subject property. This classification is defined as land that supports small-scale commercial centers that provide goods and services to surrounding neighborhoods. The requested zoning map amendment is consistent with the 2035 Community Vision Land Use Plan. In terms of utilities, public water and sewer are available to serve the subject property. The subject property is located at the corner of North Main Street, U.S. Highway 401, and Wilbur Jones Road. North Main Street, U.S. Highway 401, is classified by the town's 2035 Community Transportation Plan as a 120-foot right-of-way and is identified as being a 4-lane median divided cross-section with side paths, and it is currently a 4-lane road with center turn lane. Wilbur Jones Road is classified by the town's 2035 Community Transportation Plan as a 70-foot right-of-way and is identified as being a 2-lane cross-section with sidewalks, and it is currently a 2-lane road. The petitioner held a neighborhood meeting on July 13th at Curry Engineering, 205 South Fuquay Avenue in Fuquay-Varina, and online via the Zoom web application, and that meeting report was provided in your agenda materials. Management and staff are recommending approval of the proposed zoning map amendment as it is consistent with the 2035 Community Vision Land Use Plan and reasonable and in the best interest of the public for a number of reasons. First, the requested zoning map amendment is consistent, as I mentioned before, with the 2035 Community Vision Land Use Plan's recommendation of CF1, which is investing in existing growth areas, which encourages the extension of utilities and growth of development in areas that are already in the growth process to maximize effectiveness. And secondly, management is recommending approval because conditions proposed by the petitioner effectively limit future development so that it is compatible with surrounding areas. At the August 16th regular meeting, the Planning Board voted unanimously to recommend approval with the added site-specific conditions that were volunteered at the Planning Board by the petitioner, those I've just mentioned. Since the Planning Board meeting, the petitioner submitted those as a revised application, the 2 conditions that I mentioned that were site-specific related to those standards. There is no fiscal note to report on this agenda item as it is a zoning map amendment. The recommendation to you as a board this evening is to first conduct a public hearing, followed by a motion to approve REZ 2021-05, a zoning map amendment at 1601 North Main Street from the residential agricultural RA zoning district to the corridor commercial conditional zoning district, CC-CZD. The proposed zoning map amendment is consistent with the 2035 Community Vision Land Use Plan and is reasonable and in the best interest of the public for those reasons I've identified this evening. I am submitting the agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official record of the town. I'm happy to answer any questions that the town board might have either before or after the public hearing. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Adam. I think we're good. We'll move on to the public hearing. The hearing is now open. Does anyone in attendance in person wish to speak in favor of the zoning map amendment? Don?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. My name is Don Curry, with Curry Engineering Group, 205 South Fuquay-Varina, 205 South Fuquay Avenue here in Fuquay-Varina. I'll get that right. We appreciate Mr. Mitchell's presentation. Have nothing to add to it, but we just want to say thank you for considering this rezoning request, and be glad to answer any questions that you might have about it.
And you're very much in favor of it?
Yes, sir. I'm speaking in favor of it. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wish to speak in favor of this zoning map amendment that's here? Does anyone in attendance in person wish to speak in opposition to the zoning map amendment? Does anyone attending virtually wish to speak in favor of the zoning map amendment?
There are no hands raised.
There are no hands raised?
Yes, sir, no hands.
Does anyone attending virtually wish to speak in opposition to the zoning map amendment?
There are no hands.
Thank you, Scott. The hearing is now closed. Is there any discussion by the board? And if not, what is the pleasure of the board?
Mayor, I think that commercial zoning, corridor commercial zoning with conditions on it along our commercial corridors is exactly what it's designed for and makes great sense. In a perfect world, we would have something more exciting than an oil change place, but still at the end of the day, that type of use makes sense along a busy highway, and so that's what I see going there. I make a motion to approve as recommended.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, a couple seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we move on to the consent agenda, which is 8. And what is the board's pleasure on the items on the consent agenda?
Mayor, make a motion to approve all consent agenda items.
A through
I, as in igloo, not elephant.
Second.
got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Okay, we move on to item 9. This section is reserved only for items that were removed from the consent agenda. We had none. So we go to 10A. Master Plan Approval, Interlocal Agreement Amendment, Joint Use Agreement and Exchange of Property, Wake County Board of Education, Hilltop Needmore Road Elementary School, E44. More information about this agenda item will be presented by Manager Mitchell.
Thank you, Mayor, and I'm excited about this agenda item as it closes up some bows on an item that we've been working on quite a bit here over the last year or so with regards to our master planning of the site at Hilltop Needmore Town Park and Preserve for both the Hilltop Needmore Road Elementary School and the town's Community Center North project, which includes an active adult center. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider approval of plan exchange of property, and agreements with the Wake County Board of Education related to collaborative development of a future elementary school and town recreation facilities. Over the past 15 months, the town has engaged in a collaborative master planning process with the Wake County Board of Education, as envisioned in our active interlocal agreement for future development of this site. The process is designed to develop a cohesive Hilltop Needmore Road Elementary School, E44, a community center north with an active adult center, and a park layout that promotes complementary usage, efficiency, and cost savings in construction and infrastructure, and a long-term maintenance plan in the mutual interest of both the town and the Board of Education programs, while all being good stewards of the public dollar. Consistent with the active interlocal agreement, both entities master planned the site in good faith, without respect to property boundaries, and in full anticipation that a property exchange would be required to develop the master plan or see it through. The proposed master plan, which is on your screens in front of you and on the screens in the room here, is recommended by town management and staff and the Wake County Public School System staff, and has been approved by the Wake County Board of Education. The master plan identifies the location of a future town community center north with a dedicated active adult component, a school, staff, bus, and visitor parking areas, school recreation areas, the location of a main driveway, car drop-off loop, as Mark is showing on the screen, a secondary driveway for the bus loop, a connection to Brushy Meadows Drive to be gated during school hours, an emergency fire access from Brushy Meadows Drive, a shared stormwater management pond, and provisions for continued public greenway and park areas that integrate the campus with the remainder of Hilltop Needmore Town Park and Preserve. And Mark will show those as well.
That's the Greenway, isn't it?
That's correct. In order to implement the master plan and facilitate development of the elementary school and future community center, an exchange of property is needed. Town management and the Wake County Public School System staff have reached consensus on establishment of boundary lines that provide for the location of the main drive entrance, the community center site, greenways and adjoining park areas, and the shared stormwater maintenance pond on town property. While the bus drive, Brushy Meadows access points, and the elementary school program areas, including school parking areas and playfields, would be located on the Board of Education property. This arrangement of property best aligns property ownership with the nature of the use and sets clear expectations for the public and the staff as to the responsible parties for maintenance and availability for public use. So here on the screen you can see the areas that are identified in green are areas that would be the town's property. An area in purplish blue would be Wake County Public School System property. I think it's important to note that all of the greenway is located in town property. Give you a minute to just review this for a moment. So moving forward, the town is authorized to convey property to another governmental entity, such as the Wake County Board of Education, pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 160A-274 on terms and conditions it deems wise, with or without compensation. Under the proposed recombination of property to align with this master plan, just over a half an acre is dedicated as public right-of-way, and the town's combination of parcels, including the balance. Let's get this back up here for a minute. Do you need the other one? You got to get off of that real quick. Hold on a second. Yep, now switch. Scott, can you get us back to that other map? Is that the one you want? That's the one you want, right? Yep. Okay, so a half an acre is dedicated as public right-of-way, and the town's combination of parcels, including the balance of the J-shaped parcel outside the master plan area, will increase from 19.45 acres to plus or minus 24.86 acres. So we are increasing our property by close to 5 acres. The Wake County Board of Education property will decrease from 21 acres to 15.16 acres. While the acreage exchanged is not equivalent, both entities agree that the property is equivalent in value when considering the respective planned development programs, easements, and shared infrastructure identified in the many agreements between both parties and the master plan. And for this reason, management recommends adoption of a resolution that is included in your agenda materials authorizing me as your manager and the town attorney to execute the necessary instruments to exchange the identified portion of property pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 160A 274. So as you can see here, our property is the area that's outlined in this red dash currently, and what it will turn into is all of the area that's in green. Does the board understand that?
Is that 1.5, is that a pond, that acre?
That's right. That is the stormwater
Is
pond.
that something that they don't want because of the school? Do we accept any liability by us taking it versus them?
No liability from a maintenance, a shared maintenance responsibilities, Mayor, but as it is can be also used as a recreational amenity, it makes sense that the town would have that on its side of the property.
Okay.
Okay, so the town management and Wake County Public School System staff are proposing an amendment to our 2019 interlocal agreement to better define the roles of responsibilities of the two parties in development of the master plan, while establishing the framework for installation of infrastructure. Under the proposed interlocal agreement amendment, the Board of Education agrees to construct school parking lots, driveways, and parent queue loop, bus loop, emergency access, playgrounds, and multipurpose play areas as depicted on the master plan as components of the standard education program. Additionally, to support school site design flexibility and maintain pedestrian access to the Greenway amenities currently enjoyed by the town and board properties, both staffs have agreed that the Board of Education will relocate existing greenways upon board and town property at board's expense, at the Wake County School Board's expense. Greenway relocations include removal of greenways expected to lie within the construction areas, construction of temporary greenways to route ongoing public pedestrian use around active construction areas, and construction of new permanent greenways as depicted on the master plan. So any greenways that currently exist will have to be relocated due to construction. They'll be relocated outside the construction area. Any temporary ones and any permanent ones will be constructed at the cost of the school board. Under this framework, the Board of Education will maintain all temporary greenways until they are closed and removed, and the new permanent greenways will be dedicated and maintained by the town. Both entities recognize that the greenways provide mutual benefit, and shared use and maintenance obligations are specified in the joint use agreement, which is also proposed for your consideration this evening. Under the proposed interlocal agreement amendment, the Board of Education, again, is responsible, as we talked about a moment ago, for construction of a shared stormwater device, as depicted on the master plan. The town will be responsible for a proportionate share of the cost based upon flow. The construction and maintenance of a shared stormwater pond is more economical and provides more efficient use of land and enhanced site flexibility. The design of this pond is intended to ensure it is aesthetically compatible with the park setting. Once the stormwater pond is constructed and dedicated to the town, the device will be maintained by the town with a shared cost responsibility as identified in the joint use agreement. In addition to stormwater, the agreement generally provides a framework for continued collaboration on provision of utility easements and services and coordination during the design and construction. Town management and staff have worked with the Wake County Board of Education staff to develop a joint use agreement framework consistent with the proposed master plan. This agreement provides for town use of school parking areas outside of school times, as well as the use of school drive access. Additionally, the agreement provides for school use of drive access areas on town properties, as well as non-exclusive use of town greenways. The joint use, and what that means is if they want to take school children out on the greenways, they have the right to do that. The joint use agreement also establishes responsibilities for routine and major maintenance of joint use elements consistent with the joint use agreement for Willow Lakes Town Park, and South Lakes Elementary School site. So we didn't necessarily recreate the wheel in terms of shared maintenance responsibilities and of major maintenance. Town management wishes to acknowledge and express appreciation for the Wake County Public School System's continued partnership as both entities work collaboratively in the best interest of our shared public. The master plan, exchange of property, interlocal agreement amendment, and joint use agreement are the result of several years of coordination, effective communication, hard work, trust, and vision by both staffs. For this reason, management is recommending approval of all 4 items on the agenda before you this evening, which advance both projects consistent with the interlocal agreement and the master plan before you. The town has identified funding for design and construction of the Community Center North Active Adult Center project in the 5-year plan, subject to a successful Parks and Recreation bond referendum on November 2nd of this year. The town intends to release H&H Architecture to proceed with the construction drawings with solicitation of construction bids and financing of the project planned for summer of 2022. The recommendation before the town board this evening is to, by motion, do the following four actions. First, approve the master plan for the Hilltop Needmore Road Elementary School and Community Center North project. Second, adopt the interlocal agreement amendment subject to the Wake County Board of Education approval and town and school board attorney review as to form. Third, adopt the joint use agreement for Hilltop Needmore Road Elementary School subject to the Wake County Board of Education approval and the town and school board attorney review as to form. And finally, fourth, adopt the resolution authorizing the exchange of town property in accordance with North Carolina General Statute 160A-274, subject to the town attorney review as to form. I'm happy to answer any questions that the town board may have. I also just want to recognize, or first say I've introduced this agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official record of the town. And second, I want to recognize our assistant manager, Mark Matthews. Mark has dedicated countless hours working with Betty Parker and school system staff to help develop these recommendations that are before you this evening.
To get us to this point.
Yes, sir.
And I appreciate that. Thank you, Mark. Commissioner Harris has a question.
I just had one question regarding the master plan.
Yes, sir.
Hilltop Needmore Road, is that going to be realigned? Is that on the map here? See, it's to the north of the community center, senior center. Am I looking at it differently?
No, sir. That's existing Hilltop Needmore Road. There's no plans to, at this time, to do any realignment of that road.
Okay. All right. And Bushy Meadows Drive?
Brushy Meadows Drive, it currently exists, and so there will be access points off of Brushy Meadows Drive.
Brushy Meadows. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And it is worth noting, since we talked a little bit about the transportation infrastructure element, there still will be a pedestrian tunnel underneath Hilltop Needmore to get to the other side of the Hilltop Needmore Town Park and Preserve.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And is that our responsibility, maintaining that tunnel, or is that a joint?
The maintenance of that would be a town responsibility.
Okay.
And the school system has agreed that if extension of that tunnel is required due to installation of a right turn lane because of their TIA, then extension of the tunnel would be their responsibility, and then we'd take it over for maintenance.
Okay. That's good.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other good comments, questions? Any other thoughts or ideas?
Well, I think it's good showing the partnership of what Wake County's doing here with the school and what the town can partner with them also and find ways to save money. You mentioned stormwater earlier, which becomes a pond, which is wildlife and an amenity for people to use, but also provides a resource to protect against stormwater runoff. And that's something that's shared cost between both the county and the town, and that's a substantial cost savings right there. The Greenway system that is being, it goes across all the property, and some of it's on Fuquay-Varina's property and some of it's on the school board's property, but the portion that's on the school board is being relocated during construction onto the towns. It's temporary, but then permanently it becomes the towns, if I understood you right. And since it becomes permanently the towns, I've mentioned at some previous meetings how we've had some complaints in regards to some mowing and grass upkeep around town, and it ends up being those pieces of property are not pieces of property that are owned and maintained by Fuquay-Varina, but instead the post office, Wake County School System, and some other ones. And this gives an opportunity that staff can continue keeping our parks and recreation facilities looking great and give our citizens a great level of service. And I don't think there's anything here that upsets anybody.
Anybody else have any comments or questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, make a motion to approve as recommended.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we move to 10B, facility name and recognition. Town Hall. More information about this agenda item will be presented by Mayor Pro Tem Massengale and Town Manager Mitchell.
And I'll just lead off. The purpose of this agenda item is to continue discussion from the August 17th, 2021 Town Board meeting regarding the naming of the Town Hall. At the August 17th meeting, Mayor Pro Tem Massengale proposed the naming of the Town Hall in honor and recognition of 20 consecutive years of dedicated public service by Mayor Byrne. And so after lengthy discussion, it was requested that the board be given additional time to consider the proposal, and that this matter, Mayor Pro Tem specifically requested that this matter be placed on the September 7th Town Board agenda for continued discussion and consideration. And so at this point, I think, Mayor, it would be appropriate to turn it over to Mayor Pro Tem.
Mayor, you'll manage discussion on it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Please.
Thank
I don't know if I need to step out of the room or not.
Fine, if you sit there, it's just a discussion, so I don't think you need a coordinated discussion on it. So at this last meeting, I brought this topic up publicly, and in regards to naming our building, our municipal building, the John W. Byrne Municipal Building. I went through a long list of accolades, a lot of things that were discussed there. We heard some of those that were mentioned again tonight, so I won't relist those again. But I think the biggest thing that is astounding is this is unprecedented from a standpoint of we've never had an opportunity like this before. And we've never had a mayor that served 20 years continuous and 10 continual terms. To me, my opinion has not changed from that being the honor that is designated there. We had two former commissioners come tonight and speak in positive for it. I did not hear any public comments in negative regards to it. Past 3 weeks, I have I've studied it, continue to study it as the board asked, and said, hey, let's think about this for 3 weeks. And I have not found any information that changes my mind in regards to this honor that's needed. And that being the case, therefore, I make a motion that we name the John W. Byrne Municipal Building right here.
Second.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that this issue lay upon the table.
We already have a motion and a second on the floor.
It has to be heard. Mr. Attorney?
That's correct.
It has to be heard. Motion to lay upon the table.
Mr. Attorney, will you help me with the Robert Rules of
We have a
Order?
second of that. We have a second for that.
What is your motion?
Motion to lay upon the table does not have to be seconded. It can be immediately discussed. And part of the issue that was brought up at the last discussion was that there was a need for the opportunity to have public input into this well-deserved honor. And I want to go on record to say I'm in agreement with everything that has been said. And also what was said tonight was that we have honored other commissioners in various ways who have participated and dedicated their time to the town. But I think this brings to question if we need to have a naming policy. Some other municipalities and governmental entities have naming policies because what that does is it sets up equity and it minimizes conflict. And I think that notwithstanding the honor that needs to be conveyed, the process in which it has been presented to us has created an environment wherein we may not have a total unanimous support. So I moved, the motion to lay upon the table is indicative that we need time to develop a policy that I think can be conducive and address any kinds of years of service for individuals who have made the commitment, such as our mayor. And I think that at the end of that, it will minimize any conflict and we can be unanimous as a board.
I hear, in my reviews of Robert's Rules of Order, and Mr. Town Attorney, you correct me on any of this, this needs a second. I have not heard a second. Motion dies for lack of second.
What motion is that?
Motion to lay the question on the table, lay aside temporarily.
Mr. Attorney, the parliamentarian will understand that a motion to lay up on the table does not need a second.
I've got the Robert Rules of Order newly revised, and they say it does require.
It does require a second?
Mine does too.
My rules say it doesn't. It does not.
That's the newly revised, so. Everything I'm getting here says it requires a second, isn't debatable, isn't amendable, requires a majority vote.
So would the correct ruling be motion dies for lack of second?
If we don't have a second, I mean, that's what I'm getting. Do you have a different version?
Would you repeat what you?
According to Robert's rules, it says that a subsidiary motion to lay on the table must be seconded, isn't debatable, isn't amendable, and requires a majority vote.
It isn't debatable.
Isn't debatable, so it has to have a vote, a majority vote.
But it isn't debatable.
Isn't debatable.
Okay, all right.
So is that's your rule? Okay.
We don't have a second, I take it.
Motion dies for lack of second. Okay. We have the original question that lies on the table. Any further discussion in regards to the original question that lies on the table, or shall I call the question?
Did we get a second on that one?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
On the original or on the layup on the
Had
table?
second on the original. Commissioner Smith seconded it. Okay. All in favor? I'll call the question, and
I would like to say something.
Madam Gardner.
This is our time to discuss it, right? We can debate this.
That's right. I was asking for further discussion. I hadn't heard anything.
I'm sorry. I was slow to move there. I'm sorry. I was fascinated by the Robert's Rules stuff. As Mayor Pro Tem was saying, he had spent this 3 weeks really looking at this from a lot of different ways, and I have as well. And I've kind of put my thoughts together, and if you don't mind, I'll be referring to my notes. In the time between our last board meeting and tonight, I have heard from a number of our citizens concerning their position on the issue of naming this municipal building that houses our Fuquay-Varina Town Hall after our current mayor, who is retiring in December after the end of his term. Some of you contacted me, and others I contacted myself. Several of you expressed concern that our town hall is the people's building and thus should not bear the name of any individual. However, all of whom I have heard from were in complete agreement that our mayor has achieved a legacy of service in his 20 years as our mayor, having been elected to office decidedly in 10 consecutive election cycles, and was thus worthy of great honor. In researching the subject of naming of government buildings after someone, I found no general policy, directive, or suggestion that prevents naming a government building after an individual. What I did find was many lists of naming policies compiled by various municipalities and government entities. Fuquay-Varina has not developed such policies. Perhaps in the future we should consider that. From my research, it appears at this time that whether or not to name the building that houses a town hall after an individual is a matter of opinion. I tried to think of different singular distinctive ways in which we could bestow an honor on the mayor in keeping with his term of service. I thought about, I called the town manager today, and I just had him confirm that we had named different sections of our greenways after individuals, and that had already taken place. I had thought that, one thing that might be appropriate, particularly for this mayor, was to name the whole greenway system
after him because he's been such an advocate for it, and we see him walk it daily. But parts of the Greenway have already been named, so that's not a possible thing. I also thought about the naming of the future Community Center North and Senior Center as a possibility, but that is years from becoming a reality at this point. I've also heard from you as to your disappointment with the way we have proceeded in identifying and selecting the appropriate way to honor such an amazing record of service to our town. Please be charitable with us, as we were simply anxious to determine what type of honor would be equal to this legacy. In our haste, I believe we could have used a more effective process. I believe moving this issue away from the current election cycle would have diminished the political ramifications as well as the friction among our board members. Moving the action on this issue to be taken until after the new board is constituted at the first board meeting in December would have allowed the new board to determine and vote on this honor for the mayor. This would have avoided the awkward and embarrassing situation of the mayor being part of the board who voted on this matter. For these things, I apologize. I think we could have done a better job, but as I said, in our haste to, in a timely way, find a way to appropriately honor the service of our mayor, we may have not had the best process in place. After much research and consideration on this issue, I am at peace with supporting the motion to honor the mayor's unprecedented record of service with an unprecedented gift of naming our municipal building after him.
Commissioner Garner, thank you for your comments. If there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Mayor. We appreciate your service that you've done for 20 years, and this is a great honor and exciting time period for you.
Well,
Appreciate the board's unanimous vote tonight, and I think that sends a great message.
I appreciate Commissioner Harris's vote. Commissioner Smith,
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Wunsch, Commissioner Gardner, and our Mayor Pro Tem. You know, all I've done, I felt blessed to be able to accomplish it. And I couldn't have done nearly what we've done without the team and people working together. And that's why that unanimous vote, Bill, is so delicate and appreciative of me. Adam Mitchell has done a fabulous job and has made my job easier because of his presence and his team and the staff that we have here. I want to encourage all who are here that are running for office. I see Brian is back here. Maybe that's it. But to do so with fun and enjoyment. And I have every step of the way. I have loved the process. And I don't think I've spent more than $1,000 every year. I sign up not to spend more than that. I don't know whether that's what it says this year or not. But I've saved my signs, and I've used those signs. My daddy taught me to be frugal. And I've saved those signs and used them, every year. And I enjoyed the running part. I think we're starting to get into a position that in the future the board may look at the mayor's term being a 4-year term, because I will be honest with you, it took me about 4 years or 6 years to figure the job out. you don't come in and immediately know how to do. And it's much different than being a commissioner. You know, some weeks, I don't know that I've worked more hours than Adam, but I know some weeks we've probably worked about the same amount of hours. But have always worked hard in figuring out the best way for Fuquay-Varina to move forward. And I would say this to you, it's buildings, they'll come and go. The talent from the individuals that work at this town, I mean, Mark being one, certainly Adam, our police chief, our fire chief. You know, I brag on Scott Clark all the time. Scott Clark has helped us in so many ways provide information to our staff that we can make our town better. And I believe that is a huge, huge thing, is that information. You know, I was at the police department today, and Chief Onstock received, actually we had an officer that I'm pretty sure saved somebody's life. Receive a really distinguished award. Our police chief received one as well that identified our police department with one of the best around. And I appreciate that. We have stuff going on in Fuquay-Varina that's much different today than it was when I first became mayor. And we all have to recognize that we need more talent, more well-trained people to do these jobs that need to be done here in our community. We're doing that. We're about that. This police chief, how long have you been here now, Chief?
Over 6 years.
Over 6 years. I can tell you she's fabulous. She's not good at what she does. She's fabulous at what she does. And I'm so proud of our whole organization. You know, Tiffany, I enjoyed being with her a short period of time, but we had some good discussion. And, you know, and Pam, I mean, everyone here makes a significant difference in town government. And I appreciate you, and I appreciate the teamwork and the unity that you all display, and you work together. It's about leadership, and leadership does not come easy. It comes with paying a price. You always lose something, but in many ways you gain an awful lot by working with people. And like Cindy Shelton said, I had to slow her down a little bit, a time or two. I don't know, she kind of alluded to that, but she was a new commissioner. She wanted to get everything done right away. And what you have to realize is you do it one day at a time, and you have to invest of yourself back into the system for the system to work properly. If you do not do that and you don't allow the system itself to work, we're all backing up. This is not just about who can complain the loudest. It's really about who can listen the best. And we need to do a good job in listening to each other. Now, you know, I've said a lot. Y'all have honored me, and I thank each of you tremendously. I really do. And Mayor Pro Tem, I appreciate you. I sure do. And Commissioner Harris, I appreciate you. I really do. And Commissioner Smith, I appreciate you as well. I kind of wish old Andy Hedrick was here with us a little bit tonight, but maybe we'll get him here.
I think what we would do, and what I'm foreseeing is, and it's not decided tonight by any means, the next part, but some kind of ceremony more to it, not just simply a change out of the sign. A ceremony at a time to recognize you, and so we'll have a little bit of planning to put forth on that. But we're excited that this is
absolutely
here today, and that's been unanimously done. And will management help us start planning the right time, how we move it forward?
I'll probably appoint a committee and get some of the Women's Club members, and probably Marilyn Gardner might head it up. But
I already volunteered.
We'll try to get something going on that. Okay, let's move on. I'll be here all night long talking, and y'all hear me all the time. Okay, what do we have? Where are we next here?
11A.
11A. Other business. Our manager's report.
Okay, so a few things to report this evening. We recently hired Scott Hamill as a sanitation equipment operator, which completes the new sanitation crew that was included in this fiscal year's budget. We previously had hired sanitation workers at Xavier High and Demarius Williams, who I had mentioned to the board at a previous meeting. So that effort to add this new crew to our sanitation fleet has now been completed. We actually had a new sanitation truck to come online as well that the town authorized the purchase of in this year's budget. So,
how many we've got? Isn't there 3 different routes now, or is it?
No, we have more than 3. I believe there's 6.
Well, you got a green and a blue, or a.
Well, those are different days of the week that we pick up, but our routes, we have crews that go into multiple.
Well, are we going to? Excuse me. Are we going to change any of the green and blue?
Not at this time.
Not at this time.
That's
okay,
correct.
That was my.
No plans to do that.
Okay.
We have submitted an annual solid waste report to the Department of Environmental Quality, and the town collected a record 15,150 tons of solid waste, 11,405 tons of garbage, and 2,098 tons of recycling. With the market shifting for recyclable materials, we're now receiving payment for recycling of anywhere between $8 to $22 per ton over the last 2 cycles, and this is great news. After we were paying as much as $32 per ton for processing and disposal last fiscal year. So we're getting paid now because the recycling market has taken a turn for the good, where a year ago this time we were paying to recycle products. The recycling market, as I mentioned, has improved, and our sanitation crews and residents are doing a good job of keeping contaminants out of the recycling waste stream. As it pertains to our Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources Department, this evening we had a small ceremonial picture taking at the James A. Campbell Park for the James A. Campbell Park restroom. It officially opens to the public tomorrow, and it will be open every day to the public from sunrise to sunset. It's a great amenity addition to our small neighborhood park on West Jones Street, James A. Campbell Park, and I believe that the neighboring community and the business community that surrounds it is very appreciative, and we'll see it as an upgrade and an improvement to the park. Thank you to all the town board members, all of you, for coming out this evening and being there for the picture. I think we've already got it on social media this evening. The Follow Me to Fuquay-Varina concert series will return this Thursday night at 6:30 p.m. with the Jim Quick and the Coastline Band. Winter sports registration begins September 27th. We just wrapped up fall sports registration. It's one of our biggest registrations ever, and now we're getting ready to start winter sports registration on September 27th. So our Parks and Recreation Department remains very active and busy. As it pertains to the Art Center, we're preparing to host the Legacy Motown Review on Friday night, this Friday night. And on Saturday, September 11th, we will host a 9/11 Day of Remembrance Saturday morning at the Art Center. In addition, on Saturday afternoon, we will have Nutcracker auditions at the Art Center on Saturday afternoon. If you know of anyone who wants to audition to be in the Nutcracker, send them Maureen's way. As our IT department continues to make progress, CityWorks, our work order management system project, is proceeding as planned. We go live, or we are planned to go live with that work order management system on October 11th of this year, and the end user training will be done the week before. This is probably the biggest software implementation that the town has conducted since our financial program with New World ERP for utility billing and collections. This is a pretty substantial piece of work. Our IT department has worked very hard to try to get this software talking within our internal systems so that we can be more effective and more efficient with our work order management process, as well as getting our staff trained to use it. We've done some pilot testing with our Public Works Department, and it seems to be working pretty well. Pretty excited to have this product online. Thank you to the town board for investing in it. I think we're going to provide better service to our customers because of it. The new security camera system testing is complete, and upgrades are rolling out over the next few weeks. As it pertains to our finance department, in addition to continuing forward with end-of-year audit process, we also hired Katie Lum as the town's first budget and fiscal strategy manager. She will start her position with us on September 13th. She comes from the town, previously working for the town of Cary, and before that, the city of Greenville. So she comes with a great deal of experience in budget and fiscal strategy.
Did you know her in Greenville?
I did not. We didn't cross paths. I'd already come here, but close to crossing paths, but not quite. In terms of, I do want to just mention some work that Mark's been doing recently. He attended the first meeting of the Triangle J, Council of Governments Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Working Group. The discussion of this meeting centered on the DEI journey of managers and organizations in the Triangle, as well as the North Carolina League of Municipalities Direct Conversations Program and the opportunities for partnerships with historically black colleges and universities. So Mark will be bringing back information as he continues to work with this working group on how the town may be able to benefit from some of these discussions.
Thank you, Mark.
And Mark was recently appointed as the North Carolina representative of the International City and County Managers Association Conference 2022 Program Committee. So Mark's going to be a part of helping a committee nationwide to develop the professional development programming for city and county managers across the world in 2022. So excited to have Mark participate in that process. Our fire department continues to work on design of fire station number 4 and trying to value engineer that to a point that we can be comfortable in making a recommendation to the town board. So hopefully in the coming weeks and months we'll be able to talk more about that. The mayor mentioned it briefly, but today Officer Kevin Bissett was recognized by the Wake County Crisis Intervention Team and NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, as the Fuquay-Varina Crisis Intervention Team Police Officer of the Year. In addition to that recognition, he was also recognized as the Wake County Crisis Intervention Team Law Enforcement Officer of the Year. So not only did he get the recognition for his great work that he has done for our department as our department, but he also was recognized as being an excellent law enforcement official around the entire county of Wake County. Yes. In addition to that, Chief Fonstock was recognized by the same group, the Wake County Crisis Intervention Team and NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, for her leadership regarding the importance of mental health collaborating with law enforcement.
Adam, would it be appropriate to let the chief, this took place, I don't know.
Are you talking about
6 months?
The event that Officer Bissett?
I'd like for her to.
I'm not sure to what degree of detail she can, but
can you share it to some degree of what you can, Chief? It's made me very proud, and I want all the
responded to an individual that was in crisis. He was suicidal, and Officer Bissett de-escalated that situation and then ended up providing additional resources for the young man, not only mental health, but also assisted him with job placement later on. So it's beyond just that immediate. It was the follow-up. It was the facilitation of further community engagement with him. And this individual is even active within the community, working with us to improve his neighborhood and community now. So we have a community advocate as well for the police department to work to make our community safer.
Tears came to my eyes as I heard it described, and I remember the incident very well, because you had people in here from all over trying to help contain that situation, and we were blessed to have somebody already trained to be able to perform that task, and I thank you for that.
Thank you, sir. Yes, every one of our officers receives crisis intervention training through Wake County CIT and NAMI, and that training assists us with addressing any kind of issues that occur in our community. Mental health, barricaded subjects, hostage negotiations, it expands. And it might be just somebody that needs an officer to talk to. Provides that assistance. A lot of agencies are looking at providing social workers and other outreach assistance, but our officers receive that training. And it's part of what we do. It's a tool in the toolbox to make us more effective in what we do, to make our community safe and provide that outreach so that they also see our officers beyond just the badge. They see the person behind the badge, and they see the compassion that our officers have. So it's an ongoing working issue, and having all of our officers trained as they come in. It takes a little bit of time to get them trained on it because we've had COVID recently, and so that has some limitations. But we're also going to be providing, we've offered to have our police department as a location to offer that training, not just for our officers, but officers throughout this region, and to include further training for leadership as well as the veterans crisis intervention training. So we're hoping to share more about that later, about the efforts.
I was excited to hear about that, and that's,
Yes, sir.
Please keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir.
Well, Mayor, one comment in regards to that. What impressed me also this morning at the same time was the rapport that you mentioned that he was able to build with the man that was in crisis right there, and able to build a relationship with him, and the whole situation ended peaceful. And now you have an advocate for you. And as you mentioned just a minute ago, your entire department goes through this training. And when you shared that, that was very impressive this morning. That everybody has gone through that training, and you require any new hires to go through that training, and it pays. Training pays off. So, thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. The police chief did not know that she was going to be a recipient of the award this morning, and so I think she was sort of shocked when Adam and I showed up. But good job, Chief.
Just a few other things that I wanted to mention to the board. So, in a recent publication of the North Carolina Police Chief magazine, there is an article in here that Chief Fonstock submitted that features the Fuquay-Varina Police Department, our new police department, and it highlights some of the touches, the fingerprints, as you would say, Mayor, that Chief Fonstock was able to put onto this facility. The soft interview room is featured here. Our training room, which has been utilized many, many times, both by our officers and by the public as well. Chief Smith, I think your picture's in here. The Wall of Fame for police chiefs is in here, as well as our evidence lockers. We have one of the most state-of-the-art evidence rooms, a large evidence room that many of the other agencies are jealous that we have. I know Commissioner Smith at one point mentioned to me that we had to wait for him to retire for the town to invest in such a nice facility for the police department. He was a bit jealous, but
I told the chief I was jealous all on that. So.
This is nice, and it goes a long ways to bringing recognition to our police department across the state with other law enforcement agencies. So I wanted to recognize Chief for that. Just making a few more comments. If I can just pull this back, my screen back up here. Susan Weiss, our communications director, later this week, will be attending the National City and County Communicators Conference, where the town is up for 3 potential awards for communication videos that we produced over the last year. Our census video, Elves Takeover Downtown Fuquay-Varina, and our State of the Town address. And so hopefully later this week, Susan will be able to report some great news on our marketing and communication efforts to our community. Planning Department has kicked off a land use plan update process, and so we'll have more information with that as the weeks and months proceed forward. We are in the process of gearing up to apply for some additional LAP grants. The next cycle has opened up, some map polling, and our engineering department are working hard to try to develop some projects that the town can hopefully compete well with. Michael Wagner, our new public utilities director, will start on September 13th. Excited about Michael coming on and being a part of our team. As soon as he gets on board, I'll have him come to a town board meeting to introduce him to you in person. We're continuing to see growth and development in the form of permits. 1,280 permits issued for the year through the month of August, certainly exceeding the previous year. And finally, I want to just say tonight we have in the back of the room Major Adams. And Major Adams has officially submitted and announced his retirement from the town of Fuquay-Varina. He will be retiring from the town. His last day of work will be, I believe, on December 3rd. And Major Adams, I'm sure the board members will have something to say as well, but on behalf of our staff here, I want to say, hey, congratulations to you. This is a well-deserved time and chapter in your life, and we'll have plenty of opportunity to celebrate your years of service with the town. But I also personally want to say thank you for your dedication to the Fuquay-Varina Police Department. We've had transition over the years, and we've had changes, but you've always stood steadfast as a leader and someone that could be counted on and depended on for leadership. And I just want to say thank you. I appreciate that as the town manager.
He's done a great job on helping our former police chief and our current police chief with leadership and working with the new police officers, allowing them to be all they can be. And Bob is a great example. And I've got a story that I'll tell at least one more time on you, Bob. You know that. But he has really helped our community in so many little bitty ways that you can't hardly imagine. I compare him a little bit with Rome Norris. Rome had a way of doing the right thing, figuring out a way to do the right thing. Bob Adams has inherited that from Rome, I'm sure. He's got a way of figuring out a way to do the right thing. Thank you, Adam.
No problem, Mayor. Additionally, included in your agenda materials is a project status report through the month of August. So if you have any questions about the numerous projects on that project status report, feel free to inquire about those at your leisure. Just a reminder, we have one meeting in the month of October. That's Tuesday, October 19th, not 2 meetings. So just make sure your calendars reflect that. I think Teresa will make sure your calendars reflect that as well. We do have, again, I mentioned the Follow Me to Fuquay-Varina concert. Jim Quick and the Coastline Band this Thursday, September 9th, 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. at Centennial Park. Our 9/11 National Day of Remembrance at the Fuquay-Varina Arts Center this Saturday, 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. I believe the town board members were also invited to a groundbreaking ceremony or a house lifting ceremony, roof raising ceremony for Operation Coming Home. It begins as this is ending, and so it may be a rush to kind of get from one side of town to Rutherford subdivision off of Lake Wheeler Road, but I do believe that we've communicated that we are coming, so hopefully they will wait for us. If not wait for us, at least recognize that you're there once you arrive, if you can attend. Our Fuquay-Varina Police Department will have Create with a Cop. We have Coffee with a Cop and also pizza with the Popo and all sorts of different events. This is Create with a Cop. It's pretty neat idea. This is at Rescue Wood Rehab right off of Main Street, Saturday, September 18th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And I think you can create a little project with Rescued Wood with our police officers and get an opportunity to do some relationship building with them at this event. And the Fuquay-Varina Police Department will have Cops and Kids Day to be incorporated with a child passenger safety seat checking station. So for any of you, Commissioner Lunch, with little kids that need to make sure your child seats are properly secured, you can do that at the police station on September 25th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the police department. And then finally, Celebrate Fuquay-Varina will have a Thursday night concert, chairman of the board. This is in the Varina Business District. September 30th, Thursday, September 30th, 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. And with that, a few more things. Excuse me. We also have Celebrate Fuquay-Varina, our town festival, downtown Fuquay, October 2nd from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And with that, Mayor, that concludes my comments to the board this evening.
Okay, thank you, Adam. Okay, we will move Mayor Pro Tem. Comments, words of wisdom for us?
Yes, sir. Exciting time when school starts back. So I have a child in school now, kindergarten, so that's exciting. Jake started kindergarten since our last board meeting, and he loves it. You get stickers if you're good each day. You get a popsicle stick, you get enough sticks, then you get something from the Happy Bucket, which is like McDonald's things that people left over from Happy Meals and put in there, but the kids love it, and so he's been good and gotten his stickers each day and been very excited and learning all kinds of good things in kindergarten. So as I've been on this board, y'all have seen my children born and seen my children go to school, and that's exciting that he's doing that. As you mentioned earlier, staff has a variety of a lot of projects. A lot have been very, very busy and things that are happening in our community, and I appreciate the hard work that staff continues to do in regards to those projects. We're a growing town. It's a large town, and y'all do a good job of staying on top of these issues that are in our town and stay on top of projects, and it shows how busy that you are. We were at the bathroom earlier tonight. This is our first bathroom facility in a that's been built at a park, and that's something that's been important to this board too. So Jonathan, thank you for getting that done, and we hope this is the first of many bathrooms with the goal of getting bathrooms at every single park. No further comments, Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner Smith.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just real quickly, we talk a lot about partnerships, and we focus a lot on the police department, the great partnerships they have across our community. But we have partnerships at all levels of our town government, and when the town manager mentioned that we had the new sanitation truck and sanitation crew ready to go online, I was reminded of an incident I saw just recently as our yard debris crew came through our neighborhood to pick up yard debris. As they stopped to pick up debris, I see one of my neighbors just come running out of the house with multiple bottles of water and meeting with the crew out there and giving them cold water. And I was struck that this partnership thing goes to every level of town government. I appreciate our staff at every level of our government, no matter what department they're in. Our police officers, our firefighters, our yard debris guys, and our sanitation crew. And we've got a new one coming. All I hear is bragging across the board on how much our citizens enjoy the services they get from every department. And I just wanted to give a shout out to the guys who got a bottle of water just because the people in our community like them and like what they're doing. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner, for saying that. Commissioner Harris.
I had an opportunity to share with other members of the community assisting Afghani refugees coming from Afghanistan and being relocated to the Triangle area. There were items received at the old Stevens Hardware building. It was a great effort as the community came together in an effort to help other people. I thought it was a great project, and for us to reach out as a community and to help those who have been displaced, I think it's just wonderful, because it's one of the things that I have come to recognize is that when we come together based on, even though our diverse backgrounds and ideologies and religions and things like that, we become as a people invincible. And to see that in operation, I think is just a wonderful thing, because it defines the value and the wealth of the human spirit.
That's very good. You know, we need that more and more with the hurricanes and the natural fires, disasters that we've had. But the refugees are, they need to be taken care of. Commissioner Wunsch.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to start off first and foremost by saying thank you to you for your service to our town and our community for more than 20 years. I appreciate everything you've done. I couldn't agree more with the things that were shared, you know, especially today from our former town commissioners. And Cindy Sheldon had said something about it being a maturation experience, and I found that for me as well. I identified with a lot of the things that she said, and you've helped me to grow and become the best that I can be. And I think you've touched each one of us, you know, in different ways, and I appreciate that. And I was talking to somebody today how you've given your heart and soul to a community for decades, and he was a person that had just come to this community, and he said, you know, he helped me too. And he said, you know, that you had recently helped him. He'd walk by and saw that he needed help with something, and so. And I think that many people have stories, you know, that they could share if they were here of how you've helped them and how that really touched them. Even if it was just something very quick, you know, that they just really appreciated it and felt welcomed. And so I want to say thank you. And I had the opportunity over the last weekend to go to the new Willow Spring High School. And that was exciting. I got invited to come watch a JV football game, and generally think of a JV football game that there's not going to be, you know, there's people, but it's not a big crowd. And when I went to the game, I was just blown away. It looked like a varsity game. I mean, the stands were full, and I was really excited to see the community support for our new high school in Fuquay-Varina and the fans, and it was just you know, many of these students live in Fuquay-Varina. The high school's in Fuquay-Varina, and so that was a very exciting experience, and they won. Got another good football team in Fuquay-Varina, and then the next day, I got an opportunity to go to the new Fuquay-Varina High School, and that is just something else. I mean, just it's the largest high school in the state of North Carolina. It's an impressive facility. There was a lot of people in that stadium. I've never seen so many people there. And that was an exciting game too. They won with a minute to go, and so I thought that was important to get that in their first game. So it was good to see our community coming together, both in these two new high schools. And I also saw people from the Bengals fans coming over to Willow Spring to support, and so I really loved that. I really loved to see that, and that was a nice experience. So. And I would also echo what the Mayor Pro Tem said of thanking everybody for what they do in our town every day. You know, we've got such a wonderful town, such wonderful staff, management. You know, I always look for, you know, it's fun to travel, but I always look forward to coming home. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I always have enjoyed your post that you make at the ball games and everywhere, Jason. I feel like that we have a little bit of the newspaper still with us, with you, and I appreciate that very much. You know, you can't do everything. You got a regular job, but you enjoy doing it, and it's a meaningful thing to the community. It's to me.
Thank you.
Yes. Commissioner Gardner.
Yes, I would also like to add my thanks to you, Mayor. You've done the work. I mean, we voted on an honor tonight, but you've done the work, and we're grateful for those years of service.
I appreciate it.
I was really excited that when we got to see the new restrooms at the James Campbell Park tonight. It's something that we've talked about and advocated for a long time, and that community's, I think, going to be really grateful for that because they've waited a long time too. Because that park, I think, Jonathan Cox said was built in 2009, so it was really and a great model for what we can do at some of the other parks as we are able to add restrooms. They did, as we all know, with the construction supplies going up in cost all the time, the cost of this facility kept going up and up and up. And I thank everybody on the board for hanging in there, and Adam for finding the money and for us approving the money to get that restroom built. So thank you very much, and thank you, Chief Bonstock, for what you and your department are doing for the cause of mental health in this community. We really appreciate it. I know what it means to my family. Thank you.
You're welcome. That means the same thing to mine. I've had similar experiences.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner Gardner. A couple comments that I would make, and it centers a little bit about the growth that we've had that we talk about, Mayor Pro Tem and all of you. Adam, I'm not sure. You and I were talking. We're in the metro mayors. We're probably about the 29th largest town.
If you look at the census from April 2020, we are the 29th largest town, but if you factor in certificate of occupancies that we've issued since April 2020 through July of 2021, and factor in our growth rate on a percentage basis, we're likely the 27th largest cities.
The 27th largest city in the state of North Carolina. And wow. I mean, that's a big deal. That's a lot of responsibility for everyone. The other thing that I would say about the parks, and Rome wasn't built in a day, and the little park that we saw today, James Campbell, I'm not sure how many renditions it's been through. I think 3 that I can think of. Commissioner Harris may know more, but we didn't pave all that park to start with. And what people have to realize is that it takes time to get to the end result. And of where we have bathrooms, we've got parks that need bathrooms more than that park does. I mean, much more so. But I think our board felt like that was a neighborhood park. Commissioner Harris kept pushing, and we identified and we supported it wholeheartedly to do that park. I'm hopeful that we'll continue to look at the parks and figure out a way to do bathrooms in those neighborhood parks that we have around. But the Campbell Park, I remember when we got the nice swing sets put in there, climbing bars, monkey bars, and that, what do you call that stuff, that rubberized, Marilyn and I were standing in it, and we were bouncing almost.
The rubber mulch.
Rubber mulch.
Yeah.
In there, and that made a big difference. And we also got the parking, cement parking, nice parking done out front, and the pavilion done there. And so that park really is now it's almost like a little signature park for our small parks, and I like small parks. I really do. I went by there today and met Jonathan. I was probably the first one to use the bathroom. I walked over there, and it worked. Let's see. Adam has mentioned most of. We had a police department swearing in. That was on the 25th of August, but we've got another one coming up. We think, and the police chief's doing a great job trying to get her staff all the way up. Jim Quick and the Coastline Band. Adam's talked about that. The national. Did you mention about the National Day of Remembrance?
I did, yes, sir.
Okay, that's at the Art Center. It's going to be Saturday, and everybody should be there about.
Begins at 8:30, so if you're planning to attend, arrive before 8:30.
About 8:15. Okay, and we got the Operation Coming Home at 10 o'clock, so we're going to have to be hustling there, like you said. And I've got a Mayor's Association, a Wake County Mayor's Association. And we also have I think it's this month, the Metro Mayor's going to be virtual instead of going to Wilmington because of COVID.
That's right.
Just in conclusion, I would say thank everybody here and all of those. It's quite an honor. When you do this, you don't think about the end. You're trying to do your job the best that you can do all during the process. And it's not about the end, but I'm satisfied I've finished my tour of duty, and I appreciate all of y'all and what you contribute and give back to our community. It makes a huge difference. Adam, do you have a closed session for us tonight?
Yes, sir. Pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143, 318, 11A3, attorney-client privilege, and 143, 318, 11A5, contract negotiation.
Mayor, make a motion. We go to closed session.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And we'll take everybody, how long you got, Adam?